Hello everyone, my name is Tara and I am here to walk you through an introduction to STATA. Now, this tutorial is for the very newbies. Maybe you've never even opened STATA before and you just need a little bit of orientation to figure out where you are and what you're doing. So I'm going to walk you through that today. Keep in mind, I am inside a coffee shop right now, so we have a little ambiance for our tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up STATA. And here is our very basic screen for STATA. So over here on the left, you have a list of commands, which commands in STATA are essentially the things that you do. So when you work inside STATA, your commands, or the things that you do, show up in a list along this screen over here. This main screen right here, is just displays, it's another way of displaying what you do, but it goes more in depth. These over here will show you what variables you're working with in your data set, and then this down here just gives you more information about those variables. You can see right there. So you're probably thinking, where's the data? Isn't this whole thing for analyzing data? So when you work with STATA, the data is stored, but it's stored kind of in a separate spot. So if you want to go up to see your data, or enter data, you can go up to these two things right here. So you can see this says Data Editor Edit, and this is Data Editor Browse. So both ways you can see your data. One, you can't actually edit anything. So I like to use the browse when I could possibly make a mistake and kind of mess with my data. And this is when you actually want to edit the data. So let's go ahead and click it. As you can see, there is no data. I'm assuming that you will enter that yourself, but for the sake of our tutorial, we're going to load an example data set. So if you go into data, I'm going to go to File and Recent Data Sets. And as you can see, STATA does give example data sets, but I'm going to use this one just because I like it. So I'm going to pause the video for a second because I don't like the name of these variables, but at the same time, I don't want to confuse you too much with that. So I'm going to pause the video for a second and I'll come back. Great, so I just renamed all of the variables just to make it a little bit easier. So just to give you an idea of what is happening in the data, I'm going to open up my data editor browse so I don't mess up any data. And in here, you can see that this kind of looks like Excel. I'm assuming that you're familiar with Excel. So for each person, they have an ID number, and then they were asked questions about the rate at which they feel that their parents praise them, criticize them, help them, blame them. And so they did each for the mom and then for the dad. And then over here we have data on their age and sex. Okay, so let's go ahead and exit the browse mode. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple very easy, very basic commands that I hope that you'll find useful in terms of orienting yourself with the data that you have. So the first thing is I actually want to save this, like if you want to save your data, you actually have to save it before you start working. So it's a little counterintuitive. So I'm going to go to File, Log, and Begin. I'm going to name it. I will name it Video Intro, and voila. So as you can see, when I did that, it made a log saying that I'm going to save it as the video intro, and it also appeared here. So you can see how it happens on the side, and it happens here. So I am going to walk you through a set of 4 commands. I'm going to walk you through a list, summarize, describe, and codebook. I typed those all there. It's not going to do anything, but I just wanted to have these here just for your reference. List, summarize, describe, and codebook. Very basic functions that I think you'll actually find quite useful. So the first one is list. So all I have to do is press list, and then boom. Look at this. I have basically this is the data that we saw in the data editor when we were up here. but it's just listed out. Maybe you find this easier to look at. Speaking of easy to look at, I personally don't love the font that STATA uses, so you can right-click font and you can change the font. I always choose this one because I like it the best, but this is kind of, I think this is the general one. I'm going to leave it here though. Great, so there's list. You'll also notice that at the bottom it says more. So this data set has 900 entries, right? So I could be clicking more for days to come, okay? So if you don't want to do that, you can do something called set, well, I have to get through this data first, hold on. You can do something called set more off, okay? So when I set more off, that means I'm setting that feature that I have to keep pressing more and more off. So I'm going to show you again. If I press list again, and look, the list went all the way down to 900 this time. Let's say I wanted, I thought to myself, oh no, I want to go back to having that. I can do set more on. I don't like that, so I'm going to set it off. Great, so that is the list function. It basically just shows you your data in a smaller screen instead of going into the data editor. The next one that we're going to learn is called summarize. Summarize is my favorite. So you just type in summarize. Voila. So you can see the variable here, the number of observations, the mean, the standard deviation, the minimum, and the maximum. So this is why STATA is fantastic, because think about how long it would have taken to do that in Excel, whereas with STATA, all I have to do is type in the word summarize, and it gives me everything. So that is your summarize feature. Now, you can also apply the summarize feature to just one variable. So let's say I just want to know about how moms are praising their kids. Okay, so I just type in summarize, mom praise, which is the name of the variable, enter, and here we go. So same thing, mean, standard deviation, minimum. Maybe I want to look at both mom praise and dad praise. So I type in summarize, mom praise, dad praise, and now I have both of those variables. And look, I can also start kind of seeing differences. So it's beautiful. Now, sometimes you just want to summarize the data for one set of people, right? So let's say I want to summarize the mom praise, but I only want to do it for males in the study. So I'll say summarize mom praise if sex equals 1. So in our data set, sex is 1 and 2, labeled as 1 and 2. You might be wondering, why do I have to type in 2 equal signs? That is a great question. I have no idea. It's just what STATA wants. You gotta give it what it wants. So summarize mom praise if sex equals 1. Boom. So you can see that this is definitely different from the other one. I mean, not definitely. It's not too different, but and if I want to, I could do summarize mom praise if sex equals 2. So maybe now I want to run a little comparison. So summarize mom praise if sex equals 1. Here's all that info. And then summarize mom praise if sex equals 2. And here's all that info. You can also do it as a greater than or less than. So summarize mom praise if, let's do age this time, if age is less than 12. Right? So just basic functions there. Boom. Same thing. And you can see there are 83 participants who are less than 12 years old. And there's the mean of that variable, the standard deviation, the min, and the max. So it's pretty good. So that is the summarize feature. Again, that is my favorite one because you get the standard deviation and the mean already in there. Let's look at the 2 other ones. So we have describe. So you just type in describe. And this is just simply describing your data. Well, it's very well named. So it tells you what the variables are and the variable labels. So mother praises respondent for doing well. This was 1999 data. And so it just, it's kind of simple, but some people need that for various reasons. And then our very last one is codebook. So you just type in codebook. And this kind of gives you a little bit more of a breakdown for each variable. So let's say I want to find out about how the dad praises. So I can see that the dad praise variable has, you can see all the different values here and the frequency of those values. So I can see that -4 is the most frequent value. You can see that none of the data is missing, which is fantastic. You can see the range, the unique values, so that's great. So just to review, we took a look at the basic orientation of STATA, how to log, how to set more off, and then how to list, summarize, describe, and do codebooks. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful in just kind of orienting yourself to STATA.